Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm here to talk to you about 3 behavior strategies that I find really useful. The first one is a gesture called peace and quiet. The other one is countdown, and the last one is the name drop. So peace and quiet is a gesture that I use instead of using my voice or instead of using some other sound. So when I need the class to be quiet, I show peace and quiet. So I do this gesture and I expect the students to follow suit and do the same. And I don't stop until absolutely everyone is showing that same gesture and everyone is really quiet. Why do I do this? It's a great way to save my voice, and it's a great way to get the students' attention in a visual way. It's also very playful. Generally, students react very well to it because they notice it and they want to copy and do the same, and they often don't want to be caught being the last one, noticing that it's time for peace and quiet. So it's very effective in that sense as well. It also avoids the situation of reprimanding or shouting or raising your voice to get everyone's attention, which we of course want to avoid. Next, I want to talk about something called the countdown, which is often paired with peace and quiet if needed. So I use the countdown if the classroom is in transition, or for example, if we're tidying up, and I notice that students need some support in that. So some of them have quite good self-management skills, but others also need some support with that to understand how much time they have to clean up, to get ready, to transition. So then I look at that situation, and if I notice that we have a few stragglers or we have quite a lot of students who are still doing their work and they haven't started cleaning up, then I start counting down. This can be from 30 or 20 if there's really a lot to tidy up, but it could also be from 10 or 5 if it's just a few stragglers and I want to avoid having to point them out and say their names. One of the reasons that it is very useful is that you don't have to say the names of the students who aren't doing what they should, but instead you're giving a countdown to the whole group and everyone understands that, okay, this countdown also applies to me. So you can avoid having to point out the students who tend to be a little bit slower than others, getting ready or transitioning. It also gives them support because you're not just telling them to do something without giving them a realistic idea of how much time they have to do it. If you start counting down from 30 or you start counting down from 5, they have an idea of how long that's going to take. And then they can do it and they can be successful at it, which of course is what we want them to be. How do kids react to it? Well, generally they take this very playfully as well. A countdown is kind of like a race against the clock, and that can be a lot of fun. Depending on the group I have, sometimes students start spontaneously counting down with me, which turns it into more of a game, which can be really fun for everyone. And then the last strategy that I want to tell you about is something called the name drop. So at the point when we've had our countdown, we've done peace and quiet, and we've started our lesson together, I'm giving directions, I'm sharing something with the students that they need to know. Maybe there's a student who isn't paying attention. Maybe they're looking around, maybe they're whispering with a friend. And rather than being stern or reprimanding them, I might casually drop in their name. For example, I'm telling them about their homework, and I might say, okay, when you're doing your homework, Mark, make sure that you also write your name on it. And then I keep going, giving the directions. And the directions are, of course, for everyone, but now Mark is a little bit more alert because he heard his name. So this is another very effective strategy. These are the strategies I wanted to share with you today, and I hope that they'll be helpful also in your classroom. I know for me, they lead to a more peaceful environment where kids also have a little bit more knowledge about what's expected of them. Thank you. Peace and quiet.